Hello everyone. Welcome to our exciting lesson on creating web pages with HTML. Today, we're going to explore the basics of HTML, starting with the structure of a web page and some essential tags. We'll also see how to add text, images, and other elements to make our pages look great. I'm glad you're here, and I can't wait to get started. Let's talk about content structuring, an essential part of creating effective web pages. First, we'll look at standard language, which refers to the consistent and clear way we write our code so that browsers can understand it easily. Now, moving on to the question, what is HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and it is the fundamental language used to create and structure content on the web. It acts like the skeleton of a web page, giving it shape and organization. In this presentation, we'll explore how HTML forms the foundation for building websites, making it crucial to understand its role. So, when we say Introduction to HTML, we're talking about the basics, what HTML is, its purpose, and how it helps us turn ideas into visible, accessible web pages. Understanding HTML is the first step in mastering web development, and it connects directly to the overall theme of creating well-structured, user-friendly websites. Now let's talk about the basic structure of HTML documents. First, we have the HTML tag, which is the very foundation of any web page. It tells the browser that the content inside is HTML code. Inside this tag, we have two main sections, the head and the body. The head section contains metadata, which includes information about the document like its title and links to style sheets or scripts. Metadata is essential because it provides context, but isn't directly visible on the page. Then, we have the body section, which holds the main content that users see and interact with, such as text, images, and links. Remember, every HTML document starts with the HTML tag, making it the starting point for structuring your web page properly. Understanding this basic layout is key to building well-organized and effective websites. Now, let's take a closer look at some of the most common HTML tags that you'll encounter. First, the tag. This is what creates hyperlinks, allowing you to connect different pages or resources on the web. Hyperlinks are essential for navigation and interconnectivity online. Next, we have the BR tag, which inserts line breaks. Think of it as hitting enter to start a new line within your content, helping to organize and structure your text clearly. Moving on, the IMG tag is used to display images. Including visuals can really enhance your content and make your pages more engaging. Then, there's the P tag, which is for paragraphs. It's the fundamental block for writing and structuring your text in a readable way. Finally, the H1 to H6 tags define headings, with H1 being the most important and H6 the least. These headings help organize your content hierarchically, making it easier for users to scan and understand your page. Overall, mastering these tags is key to creating well-structured, accessible, and visually appealing web pages that support the broader goal of effective online communication. Let's take a closer look at how to effectively work with text in your documents. First, you'll notice the use of smaller text, which is great for less important details or annotations, helping to keep the main content clean and focused. Next, underlined text is typically used to emphasize or highlight key points, making sure your audience notices important concepts. Then we have italic text, which is often used to add nuance, such as highlighting titles or conveying a different tone. Bold text, on the other hand, is perfect for drawing attention to critical ideas or headings, ensuring they stand out immediately. When working with text, it's essential to understand when and how to use these styles effectively. They help organize your content visually and guide your audience through your message seamlessly. Remember, the goal is to communicate clearly and keep your audience engaged, so choosing the right text styles at the right moments is a valuable skill in your overall presentation approach. Now let's look at how we add images to our web pages. First, we use the image tag, which is the fundamental way to insert images. The image tag requires a couple of key attributes. One of the most important is the src attribute, which specifies the source of the image file, basically, where the image is located. Without this, the image won't display. Another crucial attribute is the alt attribute. This provides alternative text for the image, which is especially important for accessibility. If the image can't be loaded for some reason, or if someone is using a screen reader, this text will describe the image's content. So, in summary, when adding images, we always use the image tag with the src attribute to point to the image file and the alt attribute to give a descriptive text alternative. These elements help ensure our web content is both visually appealing and accessible to everyone. Now, let's talk about the target attribute and the href attribute, which are key components when working with links in HTML. Links are absolutely essential for navigation on any website, allowing users to move seamlessly between pages or resources. To create these links, we use the anchor tag, or the tag, and inside it, the href attribute plays a crucial role. The href specifies the URL of the destination you want the link to go to. For example, if you want a link to take users to an external website or another page within your site, you set the href to that URL. Additionally, there's an option to make links open in new tabs by using the target attribute, which enhances user experience, especially when you want users to keep your site open while exploring other resources. So, in summary, understanding how to properly use the href attribute and the target attribute allows us to create effective, user-friendly navigation on our websites, which is a core part of web development. Let's take a closer look at how lists are structured in HTML. Lists are fundamental for organizing information clearly and effectively. There are different types of lists, and each serves a specific purpose. First, we have unordered lists, which are created with the ol tag. These are used when the order of items doesn't matter, like a list of features or options. The individual items within the list are marked with the lie tag. Next, there are ordered lists, which use the all tag. These are perfect when the sequence of items is important, such as steps in a process or instructions. The list items again are marked with lie. It's also useful to know that you can nest lists within lists. For example, an unordered list can contain an ordered list, which adds flexibility for complex information. Understanding these distinctions helps us create more structured and readable HTML content. It's all about choosing the right type of list to match the information we want to present. This plays into the overall theme of building clear, accessible web pages. Now let's take a closer look at how tables are structured in HTML. The fundamental building blocks are the table tag, which creates the overall table. Inside the table, we use tr tags to define each row. Within each row, we have td tags for the data cells, or th tags for header cells. In this example, we see a sample table with a header row that uses th cells to label the columns. The subsequent rows contain td cells with the actual data. Notice how the layout is very organized. Each row lines up neatly with its corresponding data or headers. Understanding this structure is crucial because it allows us to create clear and accessible tables for displaying information on web pages. When designing tables, always remember to properly structure your tr, th, and td elements to ensure your data is easy to read and logically organized. This is a key part of building effective HTML content that communicates information efficiently. Both help in structuring content. Usage is for inline elements. Span is for block-level sections. Div helps organize larger chunks of content. Understanding div and span is essential for effective HTML structure. For this content slide, I want to emphasize that span is typically used when you need to style or manipulate small pieces of inline content without breaking the flow. Div, on the other hand, is used for larger sections. Think of it as a container that groups related elements together. This distinction is crucial because it affects how your content displays and interacts on the page. Using span and div correctly ensures your website is both well-structured and easy to style. So remember, span is for inline, small sections, and div is for larger, block-level sections. Understanding when and how to use each helps you create cleaner, more manageable HTML code. Now let's look at how HTML forms help us collect user input efficiently. First, the button creates clickable buttons, which are essential for making our pages interactive. You can use these buttons for various data types, like submitting a form or triggering a specific action. Moving on, the Textaria tag is really useful when you need multi-line text input, like for comments or messages. It's more flexible than a simple input box. Finally, the form tag wraps everything together, serving as the container for collecting user input. When users fill out forms, it's this form element that gathers all their data and sends it to the server. Understanding these components is fundamental because they form the backbone of user interaction on any web page. They make your site dynamic and truly user-friendly. All right, now it's time to put what we've learned into practice by building simple web pages. This hands-on approach is really the best way to solidify your understanding. Remember, understanding the structure of a web page is key because it makes the creation process much smoother and more intuitive. When you grasp how everything fits together, you'll find it easier to design and troubleshoot. HTML is the foundation of all web development. Without it, creating a web page wouldn't be possible. It's what gives your site its structure and content. Recognizing the importance of HTML helps you see why mastering it is essential for anyone interested in web development. So, to wrap up, building these web pages and understanding their structure are crucial steps in your learning journey. They connect directly to the overall theme of this presentation, that a solid grasp of HTML is fundamental to becoming a proficient web developer. Keep practicing, and you'll continue to improve and create more effective, well-structured websites.